Amber's side has not come up with anyone other than Whitney who claims that they saw Johnny hit her, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we know, we know that Whitney, I mean, from my opinion, frankly, calling Whitney is kind of a strategic error in and of itself, because you already know Jennifer Howell is waiting in the wings, and she's waiting with extraordinarily damaging testimony.
Yeah, and Jennifer Howell, if she performs halfway decently in her deposition, which I'm assuming she will, I just don't. That's going to be like a mortal wound, because she just completely eviscerates Whitney's testimony. And I have to say too, one of the lawyers on Legal Bites who was in the courtroom said that is that I keep quoting him. Sorry, it's that Runkle of the Bailey guy or whatever. But he said that the jurors did not, I think it was him, said the jurors did not seem to like Whitney. And, Whitney, she's not, there's certain people who have mean looking faces or shady looking faces. I don't know how else to put it. And when you look at Whitney, I'm sorry, but she was dressed nice and everything, but she just looks like someone that like you don't like. I'm sorry to be tacky, but it's true. And so I'm just that plus, like you said, Jennifer Howell is going to just completely, that's going to demolish that. And like you said, it's going to end up making Amber look worse. This was her star witness who's just been completely demolished, but I guess she didn't have anything else to put up there.
Well, that's exactly the thing. What they don't have is really saying a lot in this case. That was a brilliant thing that Camille did with her cross-examination, is really focus on the what's not here. And so a lot of what happened this week is continuing to just underline that basic point. When you need to bring in Ellen Barkin to talk about Johnny tossing a bottle in a fight with somebody else that didn't hit anybody, I mean, then clearly you're reaching. It's just so obvious. With Whitney, I think part of the problem is that she immediately presented as rehearsed. She came in with talking points. She used the same expressions that Amber did. She was such a mirror of Amber's story that it really was pretty transparent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that is automatically going to make the jury suspicious of her anyway, because she doesn't look sincere. Jurors have a real nose for sincerity. They can smell bullshit like that. It's one of the challenges as a defense lawyer. Oftentimes in a case, you have very little to work with in terms of making a persuasive argument. My clients have the right to a trial. They exercise that right if they want to, regardless of whether they have a good and strong case or not. So it can be a real challenge to come up with some type of argument for the jury that will not be bullshit, because they will know as soon as I'm lying to them. And so sometimes the only argument you have is just, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I ask you to be thorough in your review of the evidence, to diligently apply the burdens of proof and find my client not guilty. But that's all you can say, because that's all you can really resonate with on a true level, the importance of these principles. So I don't think that was a good move on Whitney's part to come in so scripted. But having said that, I doubt it was really her choice. This was Amber getting what Amber wanted out of her and her testimony. She was there to do a job, and so that the dog didn't get kicked, and she did what she was expected to do.
Wow. Okay, so let's just say at this point, I know we've not finished, but knowing what we know Jennifer Howell is probably going to say, let's just take that for granted. She testifies. We have a few more of these of Johnny's redirect witnesses or rebuttal witnesses or whatever, and then they do and then they do closing statements. Would you like to wager on the amount, if any, of money you think Johnny Depp might be awarded by this jury? It's not way out there now at this point.
I don't want to wager on that. And the reason why is because I think that really is the biggest opportunity for a compromise verdict here. I don't think that there is really any chance that Amber wins her counterclaim. I'm not actually convinced her counterclaim is even going to get to the jury at this point. We'll have to see. But she's got real proof problems when it comes to both Adam's agency, the scope of the authority that he had from Johnny as a spokesperson, and then also his actual malice. I mean, he testified he went to the LAPD with a binder of information about Amber and Rocky's perjury. That's typically something you do when you have at least a suspicion, okay, at least something of a belief that what you're saying is true. So that's a very, very difficult problem that they have to be able to overcome is proving the actual malice here. So I don't think that there is really any chance that Amber walks out of this with a verdict. Johnny, the question is, does he get a verdict or does he not? I think he's going to get a verdict, but that may not be where everybody walks into the jury room with their position set. I think there are a lot of reasons why people could potentially not want to vote for Johnny. This has been a smear campaign. They can very much decide, he's come here to Virginia, taken up time out of our community, this rich guy, because he made a bad choice in girlfriends. Why is this costing us in our court system to have to be able to deal with that?
It's like first world problems, kind of. It's almost
very much a first world problem, and not wanting to reward him for that behavior. They don't want everybody who has something published about them in the Washington Post to be coming to town and making them go through this again. So I do think there are some things that just depending on what the jurors' perspectives are that could really affect their view for what kind of reward they want to give Johnny. But that said, I also think there's a good probability that at least a couple of the jurors are full on in Johnny's corner, want to give him the verdict, want to give him everything that he's asking for. So that's where the room for compromise is, where Johnny gets a verdict, but maybe he doesn't get all the money. The reality is, the jurors have heard the testimony about the respective positions financially of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. They know perfectly well she's not going to be able to pay $50 million. Her highest contract that they heard was $2 million for Aquaman. So, they may not be inclined to give him something that is excessively punitive in their eyes. There's a possibility that if they know she's not going to be able to pay it, they're going to be less inclined to award it. What's the point? So the whole range of possibilities between giving Johnny Depp $1 and giving Johnny Depp $50 million is really where I think they have the ability to persuade each other. The folks who aren't necessarily so hard in Johnny's corner can be persuaded to give him the moral victory if there's less money attached to it. The people who are really firmly in Johnny Depp's corner, will likely be willing to give up giving him a payday he likely won't collect anyway, in order to give him that moral victory.
Well, I hope that he does get it. It definitely seems like things are much more positive now, and much more in his favor than when we started out. That's for sure. Looking forward to the closing arguments and Jennifer Howell's testimony. I think that's going to be really important. And a lot of people don't know about Jennifer Howell. Like I said, I was on Legal Bites, and I don't think any of the attorneys except for the host were familiar. So that's going to be something that for people who are just now joining this situation and have not been following this for the past months, they're going to be like, whoa, because she is such a strong witness, or is going to be in various ways.
So let me ask you this. What's the high point of Amber Heard's case so far?
Ooh, the high point of her case. I don't know. You think it's some of the friends' testimony about Johnny Depp's character? What do you think? I haven't thought about it.
Well, I think the fact that you can't instantly say, it was a Dr. Curry, or it was a Isaac, or it was, Johnny with his clothes, that yes, I am a victim, or yes, it was when they played that psycho killer audio of of Amber Heard laughing like the Joker. The fact that you can't point something like that out for Amber Heard's case is, I think, really important. Those big drama moments are what gets people's attention, and it's what tends to work persuasively. And Johnny has had a number of those, but we really can't identify any of those that have worked in Amber's favor. The thing that has stood out the most for her, frankly, is her inability to squeeze out a liquid tear when recounting, some of these absolutely horrifying incidents that she wants us to believe, with no authentic emotion attached to them.
Boy, I'll second you on that. That's one of the craziest things that I've seen in my life, in my several decades on this earth, is watching someone try to squeeze out tears for multiple hours. I don't think I've ever seen that. Maybe if I took an acting class, I would. And wasn't it awesome when her whoever that was it her agent or her acting coach or something, said that she has problem producing tears?
That was Christy Sexton, the acting coach, says that's always been a difficulty for her, is producing real tears when she's acting. But it was so funny because she also said Amber Heard would show up to her acting classes, her sessions, crying hysterically like every single time. So we know that she can actually do it, but just not when she's acting. The fact that the jury got to hear that, golden, absolutely golden.
That was a golden moment. And it was also kind of golden too when Melanie Iglesias, Amber's friend and makeup artist, who is sort of kind of trying to stretch her testimony to make it seem like Amber was abused, but like she actually saw something. But when she made that remark about how she makes fake wounds or something, they were asking her something about with her makeup art. She said, yeah, and this one of the things that she does is she creates fake wounds. And I'm just thinking, I know that she didn't mean that that she's conspiring with Amber or whatever to make fake bruises, but it was still kind of funny the way it was tacked on there.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, everybody, if you're watching this and you've not already subscribed to Andrea's channel, make sure that you click the subscribe button now. And we'll have more coverage, I guess, the end of next week. I guess it's going to be after the closing arguments, right? Is closing arguments next week, you think?
Closing arguments will be next Friday. The jury will be instructed. The arguments will be delivered. They'll go into deliberations. And I think all of us are going to take a deep collective sigh, crack our champagne, and then the wait for the verdict begins.
Wow, that'll be interesting. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.